Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2018 book What If It's Us by Becky Albertelli and Adam Silvera. So I've never read anything about Adams. I know he's done quite a few different novels, world circulated book tours. Like, he's done very well, and he seems like an awesome guy. Becky, we all know and love, and I've been on the Becky Albertelli catalog binge. That's why we got up to What If It's Us. So this came out in 2018. I read it in a few days. So this is a lengthy book. I read it in a few days. I am so impressed with this book. I didn't know what it was about. I didn't know what to expect. I just bought it because it had her name on it. And that's what we've talked about all of these recent Becky Albertelli book reviews. Is I read them because she wrote them. Some of them I couldn't stand because of the structure of the books or things of that nature, characters whining. But other ones like Hate and Waiting was awesome. And this book was awesome. I felt like I was reading more of an Alice Oseman book within the Heartstopper canon universe. That's what this felt like. That's what the structure of this book felt like. That's what the character development felt like. That's what the dialogue, the no chill kind of aspect on certain things. It felt like an Alice book, and I'm obsessed with her catalog. She does amazing work. I'm so impressed with Alice's books, and we've praised her numerous times. So it just felt like another addition within that kind of style of writing. So to read something so quick, over 400 pages, is hard for me to do, but it goes to show you that if I am in a book and I'm there and it's awesome, and I'm like, okay, what happens next? I can plow through it. But other books, which we've talked about, which just take forever to read because it's just not it. It's just not there. So it's interesting. It's very interesting that the same author can do both sides of that. I've never experienced that before. So I'm very excited to read Adam's work moving forward. All his books are in my TBR within my Amazon wish list, just going down in order of the books I have to read. But we have 62 Goosebumps books to read, the original Goosebumps books from 92 to 97. So that's the main focus of this year after the Rude Riordan Presents books, the 9 of those that there are. So we got things to do. Anyway, What If It's Us? And then the sequel book, Here's to Us. So What If It's Us came out in 2018. Here's to Us came out in 2021. I'm very happy that I waited so long to read this book. I knew it existed and it was out there in the queer community. I just didn't know what it was about. I was like, all right. So it's the main characters, Ben and Arthur. I'm very excited that I can read the sequel immediately right after I shut this video off, because I don't have to wait 3 years to see what happens next, because I have it. So I don't have to wait, which is it's a great thing. It's a great thing when you wait so long to actually read something. Now, Ben is 16 going on 17. No, Arthur is 16 going on 17. Ben is 17 already. They're both juniors, about to go into their senior year of high school. Potentially, Arthur is interning at his mom's firm in New York. He's originally from Milton, Georgia. Ben and his family, Ben Alejo and his family, are New York natives. He has to go to summer school to make sure he passes chemistry in order to be a senior. So they cross paths at a post office. That's the meet cute at the United States Postal Service. Ben is going to be mailing a box of his ex Hudson's stuff. That way he doesn't have to look at him anymore. But he's in summer school together, so he can't really get away from him. And they were friends. It's a whole thing. It's not friend drama, but it's friend realizations. And how do we be cool if we're in the same space together? And if we have to be in the same space together, and jealousy versus non-jealousy, back together, not back together. And then on Arthur's front, he's had crushes on guys before, and he's dealing with stuff with his two best friends, Jesse and Ethan, back home, trying to make sure they're still cool with him. But they have their own secret that they're trying to share. And then Dylan is Ben's best friend, and the bro dynamic between the two of them is just absolutely hysterical, and I absolutely love it. Just the way that they speak to each other. I would speak to certain friends back in the day like that, and it's just so real. It's so real. Like, I felt both parts, Ben and Arthur, within this entire book. I felt parts on Dylan's front. It was so cool to read this and to feel it as you went around, because I felt so much of this throughout my youth. So to see it on page, it was very cool. And you know, back and forth, parent stuff, family stuff, friend stuff, but it wasn't overly dramatic young adult stuff. Some young adult books can be very repetitive in complaining, oh, woe is me. But this was not, oh, woe is me. This is, woe is me, but what happens next? Let's do this over. And the whole premise of this was they go on 4 first dates as do-overs, and they're dating for the summer, and then they call it quits, but they're best friends and they're in each other's life. And the epilogue is 15 months later when they're separate freshmen in separate colleges. Ben hasn't kissed anyone since Arthur. Arthur is kind of seeing this guy Mikey, but that doesn't work out. And then there's another month jump later, and what happens next? What happens after their freshman year of high school, of college? What happens after their senior year of college? So I'm very excited to see what the next book brings, knowing that there was such a massive time jump at the end of this book. I'm assuming that there's a massive time jump at the end of the second book, but I can't praise this book. I think I read like 150 pages in a day or something like that. I don't do that unless the book is absolutely incredible. I can go on and on and on, but to keep it short and sweet, this book was absolutely incredible. My first read of 2023. Here's to 2023. Here's to us. Another thing, What If It's Us? The book is named from a song in Dear Evan Hansen. Broadway is a big thing in this as well. Dear Evan Hansen, Hamilton. And to have an actual soundtrack to a book, very rare. I've never seen that before. So to have this as a quote from one of the songs, Only Us, from Dear Evan Hansen, very cool. That referenced all the time. Loved it. It was just so meta. I just loved it. Absolutely obsessed. On to the next review. Mucho mahalo.